There's a couple of medications that we're both on that are really like without insurance. They're just not affordable.
Think over $1,000 a month, and she says they need them to live. I'm Samantha Fields for Marketplace.
In New York, I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.
There are places in the world where most people don't vacation.
But we're not most people. And we're not on vacation.
Mostly not on vacation.
And we're seeking out the luminaries that see an adventure instead of a roadblock. And a conversation instead of a problem.
The folks that look around their community, roll up their sleeves and say there's work to be done.
I'm Earl, and that's Craig. And the good road is calling.
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on WTJX TV Channel 12.
Stay updated with news, alerts, and other valuable information with WTJX Newsfeed. Get the latest news stories that matter from veteran news journalist Tom Ader. Just download the WTJX app or online, WTJX.org. WTJX Newsfeed, your source for stories that matter.
WTJX 93.1 Charlotte Amalia, your NPR station in the Virgin Islands.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And good Wednesday morning, and welcome to another edition, Hump Day edition of Analyze This here on your NPR station in the U.S. Virgin Islands, WTJX FM 93.1 with yours truly, Neville James. Gorgeous day in paradise. November been pretty picturesque all the way through. Let's get right to it. We got the Waste Management, the Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority. Here in the studio, we got the newly appointed Executive Director, Hannibal Mike Ware, here in the studio with a couple of his deputies and all that good stuff. Mr. Executive Director, welcome to Analyze This.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Virgin Islands.
What's up, my man? Been a while, man.
I know, man. Been far too long. But happy to be home.
Princess Project.
Wow. Gone back. Princess Project.
That's where I first met you, man.
Yeah, man.
That's like 50 years ago, man.
Yeah. No,
you're
man,
old. You're old.
No, it's only 40. I don't know how that was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Imagine claiming 40. You know you're old if you're claiming a big number like 40.
Yeah. Alex said, yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but good to see you, and congratulations on the appointment.
Man, thank you.
So who you got with you here in the studio this morning?
Man, I have Miss Sheena Sanderson, who is our head of solid waste, and I have Mr. Alex Bruni, who is our top engineer, the brains.
Good morning, Mr. Sanderson. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Mr. Bruni, how are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. So, no disrespect, but I'm gonna communicate with him for a while so the public will find out who Hannibal Ware is, and then get both of y'all deeper in the conversation.
That's what we love.
Okay, good. So who is Hannibal Ware, man? Who's Mike Ware?
Man, Mike Ware is a native son of the soil. Born in St. Thomas, raised in St. Croix, loved in St. John. And I have to say that because I've represented both islands and all islands in sports. And when St. Thomas married me, they called me a Crucian. When St. Croix married me, they called me a St. Tonian. But St. John, they show love all the time. So I all of them.
That's Love City or no?
That's Love City. So, that's home.
So ain't just a name then?
No. People got to love. No, everywhere have the love, but that's who I am. Educated here from pre-K to Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of the Virgin Islands, where
What high school you graduated from?
the powerhouse of the Virgin Islands, Central High School. The powerhouse.
Powerhouse of the Virgin Islands is imagination's brass. Okay,
Stop it. Powerhouse.
Okay, so you're a Carib?
I am a Carib.
And a Buccaneer?
And a Buccaneer, very proud.
Your dad was a Buccaneer, wasn't he?
Yeah, Hannibal Ware, the third. Hannibal Ware the third.
That was CVI days, right?
That was CVI days.
Yeah, I've had conversations with him. I've been about him with Pedrito Estrell.
Right.
And as last night, Marvin Pickering and them were talking about the basketball days back in the day here in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah, and I had the great fortune of playing for the Caribs and basketball for the Caribs.
You play for Raymond Lockhart?
Raymond Lockhart was one of my heroes, man.
Wow.
When I actually had the great privilege of coming back to deliver the keynote address for Central High's graduation a few years ago. And it was there that I gave Raymond Lockhart his flowers, man. This man was very instrumental in who I became as a man.
Well, wow, that's some deep stuff right there. I like that. Well, he had take over for Danny. Danny Cornelius had that program for donkey years, you know. So Lockhart had to be a good man to step into them shoes, and so great coach and great Virgin Island. What college you went to after? You did your masters or?
No, man, but I had my I went the leadership route.
Okay.
So I did the Senior Executive Service Career Development Program. I did the Key Executive Program at American. I did the Executive Leadership Programs both at Harvard School of Business and the Kennedy School.
That's what I'm talking
and
about.
Also, I'm a Aristides Scholar at Wharton University.
Penn.
Yep, UPenn.
Okay, that's awesome. Ivy. So you had some Ivy League.
I got a little Ivy League in me.
Okay, good. So tell us about charting your professional career that ultimately led you to being a federal inspector general.
Right. So I was hired while still in college at the Department of Interior's Office of Inspector General as a student intern auditor. I came up through the ranks in that office, later becoming the head of that office in the territory. Moved to the States, kicking and screaming. Actually never wanted to leave home. It took them 10 years to convince me to move. And they said, hey, we need people like you in the highest levels of the federal government. You, no doubt, will make it to the very top. But I wasn't trying to climb. I was happy at home. When I eventually moved, I took over the region, the Eastern region, for the Department of Interior's Office of Inspector General, which the Virgin Islands office came under me. And then...
who else fell under the Eastern region?
It was the entire Eastern seaboard.
Seaboard?
Yeah.
Maine to Florida?
Yep.
Wow.
And so I was in charge of oversight in all those areas, including the insular areas too, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All of them?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been to Guam and...
I never made it to Guam.
You never made it over there?
No, but the staff went. Yeah, the staff went Saipan, all those places.
Okay.
Yeah. Then after that, going through the SES Career Development Program, I shift focus from audits and criminal investigations to more of the operations side. And that led to me becoming the Deputy Inspector General at the Small Business Administration.
Okay.
6 months into my tenure as deputy, the Inspector General left. So I was acting and got a call from the White House, 6 months after that.
Whose White House?
Trump's White House.
Okay.
Right. And I thought it was a prank. And I actually cursed because I thought it was a prank call. Because why would they even know Hannibal Mike Ware from a 32 square mile dot in the ocean is alive? So, but it wasn't a prank. And I did the greatest backpedal job of all times. And
so this is what, 17, 18, 19, somewhere?
This was in 17.
Okay.
Right. And then I was nominated by the President of the United States, confirmed by the United States Senate unanimously, and very fast too. So it was one of the fastest that ever went through.
What committee you had to go to make your presentation?
So the House Oversight, Governmental Affairs Committee, and the Small Business Entrepreneurial Committee on the Senate side.
Okay. Wow. Was that an intimidating experience?
No.
Going through that, so it was not intimidating.
No, it wasn't. To be honest, like,
Okay.
so I've testified before the United States Senate and Congress at least 20 times. At least 15 of those times, I was the sole witness. What I came to realize in those settings is that I am there because I am the expert in the seat. I'm the person sitting there that actually know what they're talking about these programs. So that gives me a different level of confidence.
So you were up there yanking up a stump and all that stuff?
Well,
you could reach for that if need be?
I'm pretty adept at reaching for that.
I'm hearing it right now.
If it is necessary, right?
Yeah.
However, they always heard my accent, and it was funny because at SB I testified more frequently than the Department of Defense's Inspector General, which I always thought was crazy. So when I would get there, I would say, "I am convinced that you guys love my accent, and that's why you have me here." Yeah.
So quickly explain. Is Inspector General the same role whether it is federal or local, or is there a distinction?
That's a really good question.
Well, you're on a really good show.
Yeah, that's a tricky question. In theory, no. Matter of fact, yes, right. In that you have an independent role that cannot be, at least with me, cannot be influenced by anything political. It's the job of the most impartial umpire on earth. You just call straight up balls and strikes just like you see it. And that's the role whether you're on the local level or the federal level. This job, in that role, I truly did not have a boss. I had full...
The data and the facts was the boss?
Right, the data and the facts. And the American people were the facts. Of course, the President of the United States most recently tested that theory.
Yeah. I know that you actually reached your apex from a popularity standpoint on your way out the door.
Yeah, that was quite interesting.
But we'll save that for another conversation another day. And finally, as we go through your report card, how did all that prepare you for the gig now, the executive director of the Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority?
You know, I gave some serious thought to that, right? And one of the things that I've done for 35 years was to be able to go into any organization, analyze the strengths and weaknesses of that organization, and then provide the recommendations and the strategy to fix the challenges. What happens in the role of Inspector General is that you make recommendations, but you can't force people to make change. You have to kind of make them see what's in it for them in terms of making their organizations run efficiently and effectively. The cool thing about this gig is that I actually have the power to make the change. I don't have to force somebody to make the change. That's really refreshing. But what really prepared me for it is my ability to quickly wrap my around the situation and then know what steps to take to fix it.
So when you walked in on day one, what was the first thing that jumped out at you with respect to the operation, since you said you transitioned from being a finger pointer to the day-to-day? No, in your Inspector General life.
That, yeah.
Right? Instead of being a finger pointer, you wanted to see 8 to 5, which is operations hours, be efficient, be effective, be productive.
Right. So one of the things I learned coming in quickly is that this ain't 8 to 5, mainly because we have, particularly with a crumbling infrastructure, when you're dealing with wastewater, right? Something is popping up all the time. And what I noticed coming in is that I have staff that very dedicated to addressing problems as they coming up. What was kind of missing is more of a what's the word, like a concerted, like a laser-like approach, a more focused approach to dealing with issues as they come up. But the staff willing, the staff is fired up, and I saw that pretty quickly coming through the door.
Well, that's good to know. I got some questions about if the Waste Management Authority will ever be effective, because it still hasn't had the ability to carry out its mandate. But we'll get into that as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Sanderson, you came with Mr. Ware, or he met you there?
Mr. Ware met me here.
Get closer to the microphone.
Mr. Ware met me here. I've been here since 2007.
But not in this role, right?
I just started in the solid waste director role January 2025.
Okay. Okay. So you've been there through the growth of the Waste Management Authority.
Correct, on the St. John end of it.
St. John. Okay. Okay. Mr. Bruni, as the engineer for the Waste Management Authority, lead engineer, projects have been the priority, in addition to addressing some of the major infrastructure issues with the Waste Management Authority, to the point where we had consent decrees and all that stuff. Where are we today, in your estimation?
I would say we're in a good position right now. We are on both St. Thomas and St. Croix. We have projects out there that have been contracted through ODR, with a prime contractor to start designing and improving our system. On St. Croix, that is what we call the North Shore area, leading from Christiansted, Richmond, over to Strawberry side. On St. Thomas, where the whole eastern portion of St. Thomas from Rappoon Hill eastward is also on the verge of being contracted as well. Other bundles have been prepared for the western portion of St. Croix and also the central portion of St. Thomas as well. So we're looking forward to those bundles coming out so we could address those issues that we're experiencing.
Mr. Ware, the hurricanes in 17 changed the landscape here in the territory. Yeah. It also brought a lot of money into the Virgin Islands to harden our infrastructure, make us more resilient. Where are we with respect to that as it relates to the Waste Management Authority?
You mean our funding?
Yeah, the federal funding.
Yeah, well, as relates to the Waste Management Authority, we received a significant amount of funding to completely redo our infrastructure as it relates to wastewater. Over $3 billion. It's that the Office of Disaster Recovery controls the funding with the one dig approach. We are responsible for things above the ground, and the bundle handles things underground, which means all the pipes and everything else that will need to be in there. But we have the funding, and we're moving forward, like Mr. Bruni was just talking about, relative to the bundles. The contracting is being done, the engineering is being done. It's near completion, actually, and we will handle the above ground on our own.
When you look over all these contracts and all that stuff, one of the challenges the Waste Management Authority had in its early days was we had folks. No. Matter of fact, let me back up and do some chronology here. Where were you in 2003, 2004, 2005? You personally?
I was still in the territory. I believe I left the territory in 2010. I was at that point I would have been in charge of the Department of Interior's Office of Inspector General here.
So you were aware of the challenges that we were going through as a territory in the fledgling days of the Waste Management Authority?
Yes.
Okay, right? With Ms. Nelthrop and May Conwall and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
And we had a segment of the population, in particular at the leadership level, who were anti-Waste Management Authority from its birth, right? Because a lot of what the Waste Management Authority, the responsibilities that is vested in the authority came from Public Works, right? And the truth is, it was because of inefficiencies and infrastructure issues that actually literally created the Waste Management Authority. Would you agree with that based on what you've done for research?
I learned, right.
Okay, good. So we had a lot of elected officials who had a problem with the Waste Management Authority and felt it was a dumping ground, thought it was a political entity, and so it had its issues trying to win over the public. And the biggest issue that is still prevalent today is fees and the inability or the historical non-implementation of the fees. You would agree with that as well?
I would agree with that.
And so as we go to our break, I want you to think about, will there be a day when those fees will be implemented so that the Waste Management Authority, at some point, 20, 21, 22 years into its existence, could actually carry out its mandate. Because until that happens, we're just really a government agency being funded, right?
Correct.
Like a government, like a executive branch agency.
Right.
We'll take a break. Come back. Got Mr. Hannibal Ware and his deputies here in the studio. Be back right after this.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you brought that up.
And we're back here on Analysis, and we've got Hannibal Mike Ware, the newly minted Executive Director of the Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority. Miss Isanison, first name again? Sheena. Back into the microphone there.
Sheena.
There we go. You're in charge of solid waste?
That is correct.
And Mr. Bruni, you're the lead engineer?
That's correct.
Okay, good. Who's the young lady that you got here sitting here taking notes?
Zaira, she's on our communications team. She is actually one of the key people responsible for our education initiatives within our schools, making sure that the little critter gets out there. And I realized that the need. Once upon a time, you would say, you have your parents tell your kids not to litter. The roles seem to have been reversed. We need the kids to tell the parents to stop littering.
That's a good thing, without a doubt. I just wanted to put something on the record before we get back to the question I asked you, heading towards the break. You know, I got a great relationship with all the agencies. The nature of the show is more conversational than it is interrogation. So I guess that lends to the great relationship I have with agencies across the board. But if I had to choose one, I'd say my best relationship is with the Waste Management Authority.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Lorna Nichols. When we first started, she was at the PSC, and she transitioned over to the Waste Management Authority. And every time there's an issue, because things happen, or there's information that needs to get out to the public, the Waste Management Authority is at the top. I just let you know, right?
Thanks. You just saved Lorna.
I just wanted to say, you know what I mean, that this, and it's probably personal for me because I was a defender of the Waste Management Authority's existence. I just it happened to coincide with me being in the legislature in January 2005, and I took it personal because I think people were downplaying that Fig Tree Pump Station issue here in LBJ, right? I think it's Judge Moore or O'Brien. Who was in charge? Who was the one who established that consent decree? One of those two. I think it was Judge Moore. And because the legislation allowed for its creation, the implementation of fees was the justification for funding its existence. The problem, and this is a historical thing, the problem is at the time of its creation, that's when LEAC became a very well-known acronym, right? The Levelized Energy Adjustment Clause at WAPA, because of the oil costs and all that stuff. So it was hard for us in the legislature and for leaders to, while the LEAC was impacting us because of external forces more than anything else, to actually mandate that the Waste Management Authority implement the fees to justify its existence. But that was 20 years ago. So what have you seen when you're looking over where we at and how we go about actually doing that? Because until that really is fully executed, you're an executive branch waiting for appropriations from the legislature and the governor.
I'm in violent agreement with you regarding the fees and fees being unnecessary lifeblood for this agency. It wasn't in the enabling legislation that it would be fees, and I was quite surprised when I came back and found that there was none. However, there was an initiative underway by the interim executive director to try to get our fees communicated, what we were thinking about in terms of having a fee structure in the territory. I have to say that I've studied up on this very quickly, although I've only been on the job less than 2 months, right? But I believe we're the only place, I know for a fact, the United States, I want to believe on earth, that does not have fees for trash collection. Because it's not something that cannot be done and have a really efficiently functioning waste operation. So that being said, it was starting to roll before the PSC. My first PSC meeting was I think a week or two ago. I asked to table the issue because I hadn't gotten a chance to thoroughly investigate what would be the best approach to fairly assessing fees. I was at the Solid Waste North America conference recently, and I took a class while there that had to do with fee implementation. I was quite happy to see that there was such a class. And being in that class, I realized that fee implementation and fee management is something that they have people out there that this is what they do. They come in, they assess the situation, they make a determination as to what the fees should be, how the fees should be communicated, and everything like this. My intention is to partner with them very quickly. I have a meeting with those people today, this afternoon. But ladies and gentlemen, we will have a fee structure for trash collection, and I intend to get it passed through the PSC and the legislature very quickly. I will communicate the why. I will communicate the amount of thought and effort that has gone into making this as little, as impactful as possible. I recognize the situation with our economics locally, but if we want a waste management authority we can all be proud of, this is a necessary step.
Well, you're laying it out for the public, and I think the public is receptive to it if the service is where it should be.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So We'll see how that pans out.
Right.
What have you?
And
Go ahead.
That's the thing. The service has to be worth it, and that's the vision I have for the Waste Management Authority, is to ensure that the public understands that it starts with we care. Right? We gonna listen, and we gonna demonstrate that we care by acting. So we care, we listen, we act. And in terms of acting, that means you don't have situations with wastewater in somebody's yard for a year, right? You have me personal. I will address these items personally and ensure that you have the best of that. You don't have overflowing bins for days on the end, right? Here, what I've noticed that I mean, people reach out all the time. That's a whole new world for me in terms of, hey, what you know about this? The bin site someplace overflowing. And I could say, well, go back in an hour, it be clean. right? It overflowing until the people them come to pick it up. You just happen to be there at a time where you photographed it. That way we will be there. We're on the rounds, you know? But you will have first-rate service while I'm here.
Well, I'm sure the public is glad to hear that, and that's what we deal with. No, you've had some fires at the landfills. Is the engineer got anything to do with that?
Probably, no.
In a sense, we have some challenges over the past several years. We are addressing them. As you know, the Anguilla landfill should have been closed many years ago. We are looking to site a new landfill in St. Croix, and in St. Thomas we're doing should be doing some improvements over there as well. The thing is this: you ask anyone on the island, where is the best place to put a landfill? And they will all tell you nowhere, because the place is so beautiful. No one wants it in the backyard. But nevertheless, it's a function that we need. Technology has changed, which is opening up options for us, which we're looking into as well. And you should be seeing some changes in the future as far as the way that we handle solid waste, both on the operational side and the disposal side.
You know, you want to know what year we had that big hearing on St. Croix to address the landfill situation at St. Croix? You want to take a guess what year that was? That was before the Waste Management Authority existed.
I've been here for quite some time. We've been discussing
1996. Big meeting, public walks to address this issue. My math tell me that's 29 years. Yeah. That's a generation and a half. Mr. Ware, we still in the same situation, and that mountain that big now.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I'm saying?
The fines mountain, everything else mountain. So that landfill must be closed.
So at the time, the logical question was, with the prevailing wind being west-northwest, it would make sense to put it in the northwest corner. But then when you do that, you got pushback, value depreciation from those who live in that area and all that stuff. So we're going to need a balancing act to determine how we're going to fix this issue, because that mountain continue to grow.
And the mountain cannot grow anymore. We are at a point, Virgin Islanders, where the landfill at Anguilla must be closed. And it will be closed. It will be closed. I will meet the consent decree. I will communicate to the public what our efforts are regarding placing it. I will hold town halls. I will hear people out. But we're in the process of identifying alternate sites. And listen, I'm telling you, everything here begins with we care. We will listen. We will act. We will try to find the least disruptive area, but the bottom line is the landfill will be closed. I will meet the mandate.
Now, also, like making some definitive statements.
Yeah, I will meet the mandate.
That's a good thing. Let me talk solid waste, Mrs. Sanderson. What's the biggest challenge that you face right now?
One of the biggest challenges that I'm facing is illegal dumping of oil and tires. Mm-hmm. Especially on St. Croix. Sometimes you just walk out somewhere and somebody throwing bulk waste on the side of the road. Mm-hmm. And it takes money, it takes time. to get it clean, and then you come back the next day and a pile is there again. So we just asking the public to, like Mr. Ware has said, to care, show that we care about the place and keeping it beautified.
You know I'm going to tease you about the way you just pronounce your name, right?
Me from St. Croix, okay?
I'm going to leave it alone. I'll break this.
What you want me to say, Mr. Ware?
No, you go back to Ware. That Ware's so funny.
I don't like to tease my St. Tobian and St. Junior people, about how we speak, how we enunciate and all that stuff. But I gonna give you a break this one. So we good with that. How much it costs to run the Waste Management Authority?
So, right. What much it costs is far above what we receive. Okay, how about that?
You know no. Let me rephrase the question. All right, I'm going to ask Your Honor for the ability to rephrase the question. Under perfect circumstances, how much would it cost the Waste Management Authority on an annual basis to carry out its mandate?
Sorry. That is what I am working with the financial team and the consultants right now to determine. I don't have within the less than 2 months. That's a question that I've been digging into. When we talk about fees, right? When we talk about operating budget that's not sufficient, I cannot go before the public unless I have an answer to that question. And I don't feel at this stage in the game that I could answer that accurately, because let me explain why. You have what's on the paper, and I'm not even going to talk about what's on the paper because people look at running an agency or an entity only in terms of what's coming in. Very few people look at it in terms of a balancing act in what is going out. The viewpoint of what is going out is what has not been thoroughly investigated. That's what I am into currently in terms of reviewing every dollar that's going out. I do know that the dilapidated state of our equipment and infrastructure forces us to bleed money when we have to hire contractors to do things that an agency like this should be able to handle independently within their budget structure and fee structure. So I don't have...
But you don't have the latter. The fee structure.
The fee structure is coming.
Yeah, I was about to say, but you don't have it. So are you saying right now that you're at effective poorhouse? In other words, making do with what you don't have?
We flat out making do with what we don't have currently. But I'm telling you that the fee structure can only be initiated fairly when we have a solid handle on what exactly it takes to run an authority like this efficiently and effectively.
Well, my son, I'm going to be very frank with you. You got your work cut out for you.
Oh, no doubt. I view this probably as the biggest challenge I've ever faced.
For real?
Yeah.
With all them big gig you had, the SBA, this Inspector General that and that kind of thing. This one bigger for you?
This is a bigger challenge.
Wow.
It is a bigger challenge.
No,
now, keep in mind, I had oversight of $1.2 trillion.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. So this is small fry.
No.
Numerically, it's small fry because it ain't got nothing in the trillion down here. However, we want to make sure we articulate this so the public understand. The challenges, notwithstanding the size of the agency, is what you're referring to.
Correct.
Okay.
It's the operational challenge of running an entity with excellence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absent a fee structure, absent a reliable funding source is incredible. The decisions you have to make on a day-to-day basis, and then add to it a crumbling infrastructure.
Well,
right?
A crumbling infrastructure that we rebuilding now.
That we were building. But let me tell you something. Yeah. So we were building this. We have prudent replacement. We have a one dig approach to everything, which means that there will be one dig where all utilities will be placed in the ground around the same time. Correct? In the meantime, in Tutu, for example, where I have a team I have a team working right now to make critical repairs.
I don't want to get too much in detail because we're going to a break
Okay.
right now. So we're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to start with what's going on in Tutu.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
We got
Thank you.
we got the Waste Management Authority here in the studio.
Don't get me going.
His maiden appearance here on Analyze This, Hannibal, Mike Ware, along with Miss Sheena Easton. Isanasin.
I like Sheena Easton.
I like her too.
We old.
Yeah.
Mr. Bruni, and of course, the lovely young lady who makes sure everything looks good. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.
Thanks.
And we're back here. Analyze This, and we got the leadership of the Waste Management Authority here. I show my age when I said Eastern just now. Right? It was Isanasin, right? Rubio? Which Isanasin?
That's a married name.
That's a married name.
I'm a Clendenin and a Marsh.
Oh, you're a Clendenin and a Marsh? Okay. That's St. John true and true.
Yes, sir.
That's why I talk about. One of my teachers, Genevieve Marsh, she was a Spanish teacher for us way back in the day. She was from St. John. And she taught us here at St. Dunstan's. That's how I know about the Marsh. You know.
Way back?
Yeah, oh yeah. Boondocks. I all know. Me, I can like it. I just because I rocking braids and got on a fedora, I don't mean that me old. He could speak to that. I old. So check this out. You were talking about the Tutu issue. So let me get it out of the way. Because I want to talk about what I believe is one of the bigger issues facing the Waste Management Authority, which is perception. So knock out that Tutu issue that you're talking about. What you say you got guys out there working and you were using that example to say what?
I was using that example to really speak about the challenge, right? Yes, the prudent replacement funds, the government did a great job in securing these funds. I think they have a really solid plan going forward. But in the meantime, it's still crumbling. And we cannot leave it like that. So when I was out in the field with the guys who were digging, if they camera the pipes, you put a camera in, the pipe them in the ground crumbled so bad it didn't have a top or a bottom. All the piping had was sides.
Wow.
Right? So these are things that require us to address them now. We can't just wait for when it is, the plan. Some of these things have to be addressed right now, and that's part of the challenge. That's what I was getting at.
You were saying during the break, you're doing, or you're doing is the right word, a $75 million gig with $55 million thereabouts.
But $54 million on the books relative to what it would take to run the authority.
It would take what, 74 thereabouts.
I have not done enough of a study yet to tell you what. And I tell you, that's how we're going to come up with a fee structure in a fair way.
You know, it's a numbers man. Not that already.
I'm telling you that what?
It's easier for us for the narrative and the discussion to actually flow if we know what we're dealing with, even if it's a ballpark figure. It's not that you don't require an exact number.
Keep in mind
but
that
you're working at from a deficiency standpoint.
Yes, my training and expertise does not allow me to throw out random numbers. I have to study the money.
Okay.
It'll happen quickly. It will happen quickly. I come right back on here and tell you the exact money to the penny.
Yeah, I respect that.
Okay.
We're good with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, waste management. On the mainland, it's a green and yellow thing. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Right? And I was trying to explain one day to the audience and they got it all mixed up. Right? Waste management is public sector and there's also a private sector side to it as well.
Absolutely.
Right? And I was giving them the example where it was waste management was so big at one point, it was actually a title sponsor for a PGA golf tournament.
It still is.
It could be.
It still is.
It was also a sponsor for a NASCAR team, an actual car.
Yeah.
You see the green and yellow and all that stuff. So the public were kind of confused there, and that was my fault. And I tried to let them know. There was a time in the early part of the millennium when this thing really took off, because there was a greater understanding and appreciation for managing waste.
Correct.
You check what I'm saying? We have known everything to be public works and all that stuff. Are we hoping to get to that point from an educational standpoint so the public will have a better understanding and a greater appreciation for what waste management really is supposed to be providing for the territory?
Absolutely, and that's part of what we're going to be doing with our communication initiatives, right? Like I told you with Lorna and her team, this is what we intend to be doing. We want to be very intentional. But let me back up just a little bit so that the public ain't confused once again.
Mm-hmm.
This Waste Management Authority is not sponsoring any golf tournaments. Okay? And I think I have a feeling of where you're getting your numbers from, right? So if I say $54 million, but we have $26 or so million in accounts payable, we owe people a significant amount of money. So that's why I'm really leery about coming up with an overall figure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But communicating what waste management really about is critical. We again want people to know that we're gonna start with flat out we care, and it is a partnership with private contractors, but more importantly, it's a partnership with the public.
Correct. And the fees.
Yes,
that's what makes the fees, a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want the people to be paying, more than they can afford and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if we are in the business of sun and sand, we're a consumer-driven economy. We ain't manufacturing nothing. We make our money when people come here and spend money. The environment has to be at its optimum levels.
Right. But it has to be
and even for residents who
I
live
was
here.
just about to say that.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be about people coming here.
Yeah.
This should be for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how that's how it has to be. And the fee structure definitely will get us there. I'm telling you, I'm on these fees, right? There will be fees. So internally, we've been having these meetings about fees. And what we were talking about when the interim executive director had started to put together and everything, when we broke down the numbers, what we're considering is less than a cup of coffee. It's less than a cup of coffee. It won't be something that's so hard on everyone, but it has to be sufficient enough that a well-functioning authority, right? That's the threshold that I'm looking at. Not just fees for fees, what fees are responsible for running or necessary for running an efficient operation. And we intend to have an efficiently run operation.
That's what we're talking about. How long is the contract for, sir?
Wow.
Analyze this.
My contract is for 2 years. I believe it has 2 one-year renewables, just in case they want to kick me to the court.
The reason why I ask is because you're going to be here beyond the current administration.
Yes.
That's the reason why I asked that question.
Yes,
yes,
sir.
I really,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
trying to go anywhere else. But I
No.
want the public to know that when January 2027 kick in, you're still going to be the Waste Management Authority, barring the unforeseen.
Right.
So,
Correct.
so we're good.
I mean, I have
with that.
my commitment is to the people of this territory in this role, and I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna do this role. I'm gonna do this role well.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I like that. Mr. Bruni, you impressed with the man in his first 2 months, man? I know he's here in the studio, but let's just be candid with the public here. You like this because everybody got different style of management and all this stuff. You think his style blends and lends for a productive Waste Management Authority going forward?
We have the same mindset, serving the people. And once you have that mindset in play, we'll get along fine. He'll get along with the folks, doing what we're supposed to do, creating an environmentally friendly society for the folks that reside here and for those that visit. So
I like that environmentally friendly thing. And that's good. You sit down with the waste haulers yet, Mr. Ware?
Not all of them. I'm working on it.
I had a big problem paying vendors, man. That's something that I wouldn't want that for my worst enemy as it relates to governance, because at the end of the day, regardless of who's in charge, you want the country running good.
Yes.
You check what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big issue. And I know these man. I raised up with these man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that were rough, right?
I know most of them.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So you don't have to be candid with them, and
Yeah.
and that's your style. So so we're good with that. Quickly talk about when the conversation's good, time to fly fast. Your relationships with Public Works, the Waste Man, DPNR, and tourism. Tourism. People might ask, "Why you talking tourism?"
Yeah.
When the cruise ships
Getting
come
in.
in, I got to be walking hand in hand.
Yeah.
Right?
Even-
And that's a big part of art.
Uber Soca.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Uber Soca today.
Yeah,
Seeing the people out there,
that's what
man.
we're talking about.
Hustling.
Yeah. so talk quickly about those relationships and building that camaraderie and chemistry and all that.
Right. It's made easier when 2 of the agencies you call DPNR and Public Works are on my board. They're
Right.
the chairman and vice chair of the board is Public Works and DPNR. So we have a pretty solid what's the word? Relationship. Yes. And working hand in hand with them. It's an interesting dynamic, right? Let me see if I should go there. Yeah, what the hell not? Let's analyze this, right?
That's right.
It's an interesting dynamic because sometimes we have competing priorities. We may want the very same equipment. We might want the very same things. So it helps that we are friendly with one another. We really care about each other's agencies, and more importantly, I think we all care about the people. So none of that gets in the way except for jokes and accusations, friendly accusations, things like that, which really helps with the relationship. Regarding tourism, Jennifer Matarangas King is an old friend of mine, and when she called to talk about how much bins and rollers that she need for Uber Soca and stuff like this, man, we're happy to jump in there and to assist.
Mm-hmm.
And the staff like it too. I was here. I could be right there, trying my best not to show my nativeness in dancing up and down the place in Uber Soca while monitoring the situation.
No, that's good. What about DPNR?
Yeah, DPNR.
With JP Oriel and his leadership?
With JP, the same thing. He's the vice chair on our board, and we just have great working relationships, man. It's a quick phone call to get to the bottom of things, and man, that's one of the things that being a native son in charge of this agency is like having a special kind of currency, right? At the age that we are right now is our age group that's in most of the leadership
We
positions.
already think this is our window.
Right?
Yeah.
This is our time now. So it's easy to pick up the phone call and call, Derek, and call JP, and call Jennifer. And
You mean
the same
Derek
thing.
Gabriel at Public Works?
Yes.
Yeah.
And just have candid conversation about what happening and how we could move obstacles.
No,
It's
that's
serious currency.
no. That's I like that word. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and incorporate it in me.
Yeah.
In the vernacular.
Oh,
We got nowadays got words like nuances and space,
Yes,
spaces
space.
and all that things. I can use currency.
Yeah.
I like that one.
It's the same thing that helps with the vendors, by the way. I mean, with the haulers, right?
Yes.
Right. With me growing up with some of the haulers, having a relationship with the haulers and things like this, they know me. They know that when I give my word, that's it. It's gonna happen.
All
So
right.
when I'm telling them, hey, if you do this for me, you will be paid on time right now.
That's what
And
talked
I
about.
have a plan. Let's sit down, let's reconcile the books, and let's come up with a plan on how we're gonna get you paid for what we already owe. These are things that I'm doing.
That's what I'm talking about. Mrs. Sanderson, you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to just remind the public that January 1st, 2026, the new law will come out where we're no longer accepting the barrels when we do house to house, where we posted press release and let them know the types of carts that are going to be, that we're going to be picking up. So I'm just letting the public know that, and that is for the safety of the team when they're picking up these heavy barrels or the rusted barrels. They're getting, hurt on the job.
And I can't afford to lose any. I need I need additional workers in the field.
I want to thank you for making some time to come into the studio and talk to my audience. They pay attention to details. I'm on an NPR station, I'm not a commercial station, and as a result, my audience is exponentially more astute.
Yeah.
From that perspective, I'm gonna knock the other stations, but our thing is different, and I believe it's better. But I'm gonna hold on with different. Right now, don't be a stranger.
I won't, man.
I'm looking forward to talking with you. I think the public, you were well received this morning, and I really believe the educational component is critical. We got the watershed projects that we're dealing with, right, Mr. Bruni, and we also have what you mentioned earlier, $3 billion in sewer projects, right?
Yeah.
All that, that's a lot of money, and we want at the end of the day for you to feel comfortable saying the country running good.
Yep.
And you're responsible for the entire country, from that would be Coral Bay to Hams Bluff, to cover the entire gamut, the Virgin Islands and down west in Bordeaux. We name Malik Siku says they call it down west. You know what I'm saying? So we good with that. You feel confident? You feel good about the gig?
I really do. I feel very confident. I feel like I'm really getting settled in. Got my arms around things a lot more tightly. But listen, I'm telling you, excellence. I told them this coming through the door. Excellence is the standard, and the public will hold me to that.
So I talk about Hannibal. Mike Ware, thank you very much for joining us this morning here. Analyze this. Ms. Sheena Isanasen, right? Not Easton.
Yes,
From
yes. Thank you.
Miami Vice days with Dan Crockett and all that stuff. Mr. Alex Bruni.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure to have you here. You gonna be coming back with the contractors in a little bit?
Yes, we will.
Right. So we're looking forward to that discussion. And young lady, what's your name again?
Nazira Armstrong.
Nazira Armstrong. Thank you very much for joining us here as well and keeping them in line. You did a good job with that. You know what I'm saying? So we're good. Mr. Ware.
Man, always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna let you wrap it with that. Thank you very much. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me, man.
Of course.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters. The views and
Wednesday, the 19th day of November. Sunshine, partly sunny at times. There may be a spotty shower or two. Temperatures in the middle to upper 80s this afternoon. Winds will be easterly at 10 to 20. Overnight tonight, we are looking at partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers. Nighttime lows will be drifting back into the upper 70s to low 80s. Tomorrow, it's partly sunny. There's still the chance of a shower or two, although the activity should be quite isolated. Temperatures upper 80s. Isolated showers tomorrow night near 80. Partly sunny with isolated showers upper 80s Friday. Rip current risk will be highest on St. Croix today.
WTJX 93.1 Charlotte Amalia, your NPR station in the Virgin Islands.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And we're back here. Analyze This. Want to thank Mr. Hannibal Mike Ware, who is the new executive director of the Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority, and his team for joining us. There were some areas that we didn't touch on, but that's by design. Looking forward to getting him back on so we could be a little bit more detailed going forward. But that was a great initial conversation with Mr. Ware. So glad to see him assimilating himself into that leadership position at the Waste Management Authority. So it's an Arts Wednesday as well. And we've got Ms. Sonia Deane. How do you pronounce that other name there?
The one that you love, Nahar.
Nahar. I love it. I love it. I love it. Here in the studio from the King Roots Gallery. Good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you too.
Good. Introduce the young man that you brought with you into the studio.
The artist is Jeff Condit.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff Condit has come to us by way of Portland. And Jeff and his wife have settled on St. Croix for quite some time, and they now have made St. Croix their home. And through his artwork, he has passionately begun to describe St. Croix and the people of St. Croix through the photography he has taken, but taking it to a whole nother level. The photography is done through collage in many different ways.
Okay. Mr. Condit, welcome to Analyze This. Glad to have you here.
Well, thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an old duffer, been around for a long time, and I'm finding that I had a long photographic career, and in the last 25 years or so, I've gravitated towards personal work. And this is a perfect environment for me to get a totally different look at where we live, how we live, and the people we live with. And we've always kind of had an inkling to come to stay here to live, but since we made it a reality, it's really been a wonderful thing.
When was the first time you came to the Virgin Islands?
In 2010,
Okay.
my daughter went to nursing school here. So we had 2 years of on and off being here. And when finals would come around, we'd stick around for a month to kind of help her with that. We're both avid tennis players, have played most of our lives. And there are clay courts up in Carambola. And so we made a tennis connection fairly early on. So we kind of had a passion to come back here. We love Carambola. We'd go up there, we say, we'll never be able to afford to live here. But as time would have it, it did work out, and we love being here.
Tennis, you said?
Tennis, yes.
We're going to get into that in a little bit. I'm a tennis junkie. Tell me about Portland. I'm a open wheel fan, where I used to be, and they would have this race up there every June in Portland, and I'd see, what's that, Mount Hood?
Mount Hood, yes.
In the background.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
From what I see on TV. Is it that beautiful in real life?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to talk about the naked bike ride.
It's an NPR station. I couldn't do it even if I wanted to. But Portland itself and Oregon, beautiful country out in the Northwest.
Beautiful country. We also...
is it as beautiful as the Virgin Islands?
It's different. In Portland, it's gray skies 60% of the time.
Oh, you're a politician. I like that one.
Born and raised, lived there my whole life.
No, I like that one. You said it's different. You wouldn't take a side. That's good. Good on you. Good on you. When did you get into art?
When I was about 3 years old.
Wow.
Yes. In the beginning, my dad lived in a Victorian house, and there were commercial artists that lived upstairs. And he had his photo business in the front. So I was exposed to that. But I'd also sneak upstairs to raise havoc with the design people that lived up there. So I would say that's the first time I really had any real exposure, even at a young age.
Miss Nahadi, what is it about Jeff that jumps out at you?
Well,
and his work.
You and I have talked about this before. My first contact with collage work was Romare Bearden, and I've always loved what Romare Bearden did with where he grew up, like, for example, the Mecklenburg series.
Mm-hmm.
And then him coming to Harlem and him documenting being in Harlem through his collage work. So I've been impacted by collage for a very, very long time. I've even collected collage work. But there's a little bit of an off spin about Jeff's collage work also. Mm-hmm. I've also gotten into collecting and selling abstract work because I've begun collecting the abstract work. And besides the collage work, Jeff is able to take the physical or people and then make it abstract. Or he will take paper and other things and make it abstract. Mm-hmm. So it just enlivens collage work in an abstract way. So that's what's drawn me to his work. Okay. And we've planned this out and as any good artist would know, in order to come into an exhibit, especially a solo exhibit, you have to be prepared almost like 2 years out and almost a year and a half out. And he really lived up to that. This has been planned over a year ago.
Wow. Now, the actual exhibit itself, what's the details, the specifics for that?
Well, I can tell you something that jumps right out to me. It's a shot of Olassie Davis. Mm-hmm. And if you know the community and you know him, you will recognize him. But then in the field of taking the hike, those images are somewhat abstract. The people who are walking with him are somewhat abstract, but then you still recognize him as a culture bearer for who he is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. Condit, talk about your work, the time you're putting in, and one of my biggest concerns on behalf of artists is being properly compensated for that hard work. Some might say, well, I do it for the love of it. But I have a problem with people appreciating your work long after you're gone. I want for artists to get their flowers now. That's my biggest concern.
That's a beautiful statement,
Yeah.
but you're right. It's not about that. What I've actually been focusing on lately is I want to be the dance, not the dancer. I want people to not think of me when they see my art. I want people to focus in on what the art is about. And I don't want to have to, I won't tell people my feelings about it because they have to make the connection. And I learned a long time ago that I had to do what's inside of me. And so that's what drives me. And that's also why, to get properly compensated, it'd be nice, but it's not about that. It's about the time that I spend in there by myself and figure out these different things in a very emotional way. And it's something that is a cornerstone of why we're here.
What is it about St. Croix and how it relates to your art and how it's impacted you personally?
Well, it's impacted me because, like I told you before, I come from a gray environment, and this is blue skies and that. I'm also very impacted by the tennis community that I've been involved in. I've been in tennis leagues. I've worked for the USTA.
Oh, yeah?
And so it's been a big part of it. I've gone to nationals. I started playing in '83, and in the close to 2000, finally made it to, or 2019 made it to nationals for the first time. But I also, along the way, especially in retirement years, found connections with the people I had been playing for many years. And so that really is a big part of what I really enjoy about here. The other thing is we live on a golf course, and I used to play golf 3 or 4 times a year. Now I play once a week.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. That's good. The exhibit started when and lasts for how long?
Oh, it starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the exhibit opens tomorrow. And it opens at 4, ends at 8, and it will be up until January 2nd, Children's Carnival. It'll be an evening reception, so everybody can get to the Children's Carnival. I'm not Carnival.
Parade?
Parade,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's a Friday night then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. You excited about promoting Jeff's work and highlighting it?
Oh, I really am, because it's something very unique. As I tell you the way I feel about collage work and my love for abstract work. And just to circle back to the value of art. Art is something very personal for everyone. And you will find a client who walks in and sees 30 pieces and they identify with one. And that's the one that they purchase. You might find somebody who walks in and you have conversation about it, and then they leave and they don't purchase anything. But I think the purpose of having a gallery here in St. Croix is also exposure. Because if you're not traveling off of the island or you don't have access to it, you'll never know the different mediums of art. And I think over the 5 years, the gallery has done an excellent job of providing the community with different depths of what is available in the art world for them to see. Not everybody might like it, what they're seeing, but at least it's giving them the exposure and also giving young people the exposure.
Well, I'm a nerd, right? And when I see him, and we talked about this on the show, when I see him, Camille Pizarro paintings fetching $19 million 100+ years after he gone, you know what I'm saying? I want the people who doing the work to appreciate, the proper due, which is dollars, right? No, I understand your love is, it is what it is, right? And I respect that, right? But we're in a capitalistic society, man. I'm just trying to be real here, and if you, I don't know if you ever met Dove. Dove may have passed before he got here.
Oh yeah.
Right?
He passed before I got here.
That's what I'm saying. You know, we had an artist here who, you know, a lot of us have regrets because we didn't really appreciate his genius. We saw him there. He'd be on the corner, you know, where the Catholic church is in Christiansted. He would be right across from there, and with his work and all that stuff, and you know, he did such awesome stuff. And so when we think about that, you know, that's one of the driving reasons and driving forces in why I want for artists to get what is theirs. You know what I'm saying? It's personal for us. So I'm not knocking you for your love of what you do, you know, but it's just for some of us, having seen others struggle, that's the reason why it's a personal thing for some of us in that regard, right? So we could talk about that.
But also, too, I want to say this about Dove and Dove passing. And I was trained in New York by S.C. Green. And S.C. had a philosophy, and I told you about this before. If you don't create a space for the masters, what room do you have for the next generation of artists? So in terms of our community, like you mentioned, Dove, I can think of Elroy Simmons.
Yeah, man.
We've had his work in the gallery, and I always push for collectors on the island. People who are really seriously interested in collecting, you have to have Elroy in your collection. Then we have John Jones, who's coming up in January.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you don't push that, and you don't, and for me, that's my service, to say, hey, look at these people who've created these works before. And I think if you can do that with clients, then clients will have the ability to bridge and then to look at other artists and say, oh, wow, I think I want this next. I want to put this up on my walls. But you have to create a place. You have to create a place for these other artists. Now, here's the thing about Dove, and I'm going to talk about pricing. People who would see Dove on the corner gave Dove $50, gave Dove $100 for his work at the time. And from what I've heard through rumor, there was an auction that a Dove piece went for $20,000. And then someone asked me to evaluate, well, what do you think this is worth? It's hard to evaluate that because there's no trend of how things have been selling. I do know there was an art gallery here, and they sold a piece to someone for $5,000, and they were looking to resell it. So in that kind of range, if they paid $5,000 and they're looking to resell it, they've got to figure out what they want to put up on their increase on the value of that piece, since they've had it for a few years, or if they want to make a quick sale and they want to turn it over very quickly, because that's really the game in terms of reselling something that's in your collection. But those are the areas you have about a person like Dove. People bought it very low, and then they might want to sell it very high. But then I've been talking to someone about this, and actually it was Lisa Morhurst from the museum.
Yeah, the Caribbean Museum Center for the Arts. Yeah.
Where do we get the value of Dove's work to go up? Maybe you really needed to take it out there to Sotheby's. If you don't take it out of here, then how do people begin to interact with it? So then if it's on an auction block, then that auction block then sets the stage for what maybe the piece should be valued at, or whatever it's bought for. Then you go, okay, this piece sold for for this price. Then you can begin working from that point on. But there's really no value place for what his work should be. And also works by Dove that are in good condition, because a lot of people have had Dove's work and they're not in such great condition.
It's a lot more complicated than people think it is. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's just a personal thing with me, though. You know, and if in fact, you know, we're going to see the full effect of this art renaissance that's taking place in the Virgin Islands. You know, at least I've been on for 5.5 years now, and we started Arts Thursday, I believe, in 2021. Shout out to Zoe Zimmett for doing that. You know, and I just don't want it to be talk. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be real. You know, so that's one of the reasons why you hear me talk about that. And you said John coming on. John gonna be doing a exhibit by you again. So
Yes,
there's
another-
so that mean he coming on here.
Yes.
At some point as well. We're talking with Sonia Deane. I'm sure, you know what I'm saying? The owner of the King Roots Art Gallery. I believe it is 24.
Absolutely.
24
Company
Street on the left-hand side, second to last building. Can't miss it, coming out of tongue. And the featured artist starting tomorrow. His exhibit, Jeff Condit, originally out of the Great Northwest, but he's now in Paradise. We'll take a break and be back right after this. And we're back here. I analyze this. It's Arts Wednesday. And we got Miss Sonia Deane from the King Roots Art Gallery. Featured artist Jeff Condit here in the studio. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Condit, who is the tennis GOAT?
Who's the tennis goat?
In your opinion, who's the greatest of them all?
Oh.
Yours of all time?
Yeah. The greatest all time is Federer.
Is who?
Federer.
Say it a little bit louder.
Roger Federer.
You know what I'm saying? Because on Mondays,
The
right?
beauty in action.
That's what I'm saying. On Mondays, right? We do the table talk. I didn't even know that you were of that opinion. So this is beautiful. We have the table talk. Tennis is one of the sports that we talk about a lot on our table talk. Me and some other former senators, and one of them is a big Djokovic fan, and two of us were big Federer fans. So I was curious as to who you thought.
Djokovic doesn't cut it. Sorry. You don't mind me being blunt.
He has the numbers on his side. Right?
You bet he does.
So we try to tell Rocky, me and Ducks Cole, we try to tell Rocky, it isn't just about volume, it's also about quality and beauty. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And aesthetically, there's nothing like Roger Federer.
Did you ever hear the speech that he gave to, I forget the college now.
Last year he gave
and it just blew my mind. That guy is not only a great tennis player, but
he's an artist.
He is an artist at his work.
He's an artist and he's a great human. And the way he broke that down, it only speaks to why he looked at things analytically. when he was on the court. So we appreciate that. So that's good. Ms. Nahardine, you entertain different kind of artists at the Cane Roots Gallery. What has been the overall reception to the exhibits that you have had there and the diversity in the exhibits that you've had there at the gallery?
The diversity has been large, I would say so. I'm the steward, that's the word that Shalana loves to use.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the steward of the artists who come and exhibit. And you have to come strong because the bar continues to be raised. As you know, our Thursday lined up when we opened up.
That's right.
5th anniversary coming up in December, we opened up with Nyaris Walker.
Correct.
And that was a solo exhibit. So moving from that point, it only had to get better, and new innovative ideas about the types of exhibits we should have. How do we engage the community? We meaning sometimes just I solo, but how I make that happen. So I think the gallery has become stronger and stronger in terms of the types of exhibits we've had. And it's been successful. I think the community has really embraced what I've been doing and what I've set out to do. I want to say something.
We didn't do the Stefan Cardi thing. That wasn't in 2020 as well when we did that, or that was 21?
No, that might have been 21, 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to say something about this. Like Jeff and myself, I came here much earlier than Jeff. I started coming 16 years before I bought the space on Company Street to rehab and to turn it into an art gallery downstairs. When you come from somewhere and you arrive in a new space, you have to get acclimated. And in that getting acclimated, you have to have people trust you. And you can't go about necessarily interpreting or giving language to people's culture. So I never did that. And I think that has brought me a really good respect by people who are Crucians. And I appreciate that about the community. And I've even had a nice compliment the other day. I said, "Oh, I'm an outsider." She says, "No, you're no outsider."
No, we don't. That one is it.
She says, "You're no outsider."
I don't say that.
But I also look at Jeff as someone who's come from Portland, and he and his wife Laura have come here, but they've immersed themselves in the community, like you said, through tennis, through golfing, meeting people, forming their own communities. But most important in terms of Jeff's art is very respectful of the community that he is a part of. He is not trying to make something of the people that are here, make something different. I've looked at work of people who have come here before and I say, "Oh my God, this is so kitsch. This is so typical of what people come and what they think the Caribbean needs to look like. A coconut tree needs to look like this. The kid climbing the coconut tree needs to look a certain way." And those images I really don't like. They're from yesteryear. You have to create with the modern. Take your technique and see how the people are living and do that in the most respectful way. And Jeff has done that with his work. And it's something that I admire very much.
Mr. Condit, what is it about our culture that moves you?
Everything. The pace. The fact that people, when you walk into a room, everybody says, "Good afternoon, good night." When you need to take a turn and you're on the open street, they'll stop for you. They'll flash your lights. Those are, to me, are things that mean that people are friendly and not mean. And I think that has probably been the best thing. The other thing is, it's not hard sometimes it's sometimes hard to understand them because they talk so fast sometimes and with all the slangs. And believe me, I play with a group every Tuesdays and Thursdays on the clay. And, I'm okay through a lot of it, but sometimes they get into their own little rhythm and I just have to just sit there and put a smile on my face because I can't figure out what they could be talking about me for all that. But anyway.
Talk a little bit about your work, collage approach to art.
Well, the thing about collage is,
by definition, collage is
combining things together. But what for me it means is changing the focal point. Usually in still photography, you take a shot and you have an image, and that's your image. But in collage, you've got images that are all over the place, and so you have to come up with things that, number one, the photos have to balance to a certain extent. If you have a super strong image, then the eye's only going to go to that. So you have to kind of balance that. I personally like to think in terms of color and design, but also I like things that are, which some people don't care for. I like things that are out of focus, that are soft, that allow you to have some breathing room. So when you're looking at the piece, you've got some places for your eye to go, but then some places to get some rest. So that's my take on collage. Everybody has their own, but that's kind of how I approach it. The other thing is, from where I stand is an interesting phrase, and people think, oh, from where you take a picture. Well, yeah, that's a part of it, but the biggest part of it is standing on top of a two-step ladder, looking straight down and shuffling all these things around so that they work, and deciding what's big, what's small, what color, what this, what that, and it's all an emotional thing. It's like I can't explain it. The other thing is too, there'll be times when I finish the day and I think, wow, I'm really proud of myself. I really did a great job. Get up the next day and look at it and I go, what is this stuff? and it happens a lot of times. And then the other thing is to have the courage to take and change something. Say you like a part of it, but you need to change it because it affects everything else. To have the courage to start over. And that's the thing that is the excitement for me, to see something actually grow into a better piece.
Ms. Nahardine, with the different artists that have worked their way through your gallery and what we're dealing with here in art, you think St. Croix or the Virgin Islands ready for an arts festival? An actual festival requires a lot of infrastructure work and all that stuff. But from the actual finished product that you've been seeing since you opened your art gallery, you think we have the quality to look at taking that next step, like what cities do and towns do to promote art?
I think that it is possible, but we're way off from that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think some people will have to put their egos aside. Some politicking would have to be put aside and really work towards a commitment to make that happen. It really is possible, but I feel that it requires years for that to take place.
Because yourself and Ms. Morhurst, y'all have brought a lot of artists, whether it be in residency, whether it be folks who live in here. And I'm thinking, just based on the numbers that I've had the opportunity to interview, and knowing how towns on the mainland, they use art, even in Puerto Rico, they use art as a way of drawing people to that location. That's the reason why I asked that question.
Yeah, funding is very big. If we have communities where...
If properly funded, do we have enough...
Yes.
Of that type of work where we could set up something for like a 3 or 4 day deal.
I think so.
From like a Thursday or a Wednesday to a Saturday, Thursday to a Sunday.
Yes.
Get folks to find an ideal locations, enough space, and all that.
I think so. I think it's possible. There's also a need to be more committed. When I talk to you about the masters, people who've been at this for over 40 years. and you don't see their work around. You know, you don't go to a government office and you see the work. That's something missing. That's something missing. So I feel, I know monies are tight, but there has to be some set aside, and I don't know enough about the Senate to say what much of a set aside there is. I don't know when you were.
I know some senators who are looking at being creative. That's the reason why I asked the question, because they want to do different things, because we know by definition, doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Yes.
That's craziness. But that's the reason why I asked that question, because the next step, we got to play chess. Can't be playing checkers all the time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why, and that was the justification for why I asked the question in that context. Mr. Condit, your work itself, what's it like as an artist when you deliver the product and someone walks up to you and says, hey, Mr. Condit, I really like this?
I don't know. I mean, they say it all the time. They say it regardless of whether they do or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard question to answer for me, because people tend to try to put things in a positive way, and you have to take that with a grain of salt.
What about those instances where you could sense that you've really moved this person based on your work?
I don't know if I've ever done that.
No? I know you're trying to suppress, the ego thing and all that stuff, but there are times when people genuinely like what someone is doing or what someone didn't.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. That is true. But I guess I just...
have you disposed yourself to not process when people talk to you like that?
Well, I've gotten to a point where I do what's inside of me, and I'm not doing it to satisfy anybody else.
Okay.
And really, in order to be your own self and to really work within your own, what's within you, you have to kind of discard a lot of that stuff. And I think that, people say, well, why don't you do sunsets? Well, when you've done a few sunsets, all of a sudden you can't seem to find a new motivation to do that. Mm-hmm. And so, they talk about how they like it, and then you say, well, it's a piece of crap, because, you see so many of it, it's so saturated that it doesn't appeal to me anymore. And so I think that some of that is what kind of happens when you...
Well, since you went there and talking about sunset, and you say you're from Portland, which is...
Gray.
But it's western. It's where the sun sets as it relates to the U.S.
Okay.
Literally, you know what I'm saying? And we have some of the most beautiful sunsets here around St. Croix.
We do.
You've seen the pier. You've experienced the sunset off the Frederickstead Pier, where the sun goes down and all that.
There's one in my show of it, that exact same thing.
See what I'm talking
with Laura
about?
sitting on a bench with Missy.
Wow.
And it's you're right. It does happen.
Yeah.
But it's not the sunset that people typically paint.
Can be.
It's exceptional. I wish I'd bought a picture of it to show you.
Mm-hmm.
It's after the sun has set.
Yeah.
But it's the quality of light that happens after the sun has set.
Yeah,
that is where the beauty is so much of the time.
That's what makes the Frederickstead sunset so unique. It isn't about the sun setting, you know what I mean? It's about the ambience and everything, around it. You know what I'm saying? The twilight, actually. You know what I'm saying? It's the twilight, you know what I'm saying? So we're talking with Jeff Condit. He has a exhibit that opens tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
right?
yes.
Tomorrow. What time?
At 4 o'clock in the
4
afternoon.
o'clock in the afternoon. That'll be on the 20th, right?
Yes.
January 20th, and this is going to last until Saturday, January the 2nd. No, Friday.
Friday,
January 2nd.
that's right.
The Children's Parade.
Yes.
January 2nd. And excited?
Oh, yeah. Extremely, extremely excited. I'm excited to put all of Jeff's work into one solo exhibit. It's a new body of work.
Okay.
So he's worked for over a year on this one body of work.
Okay.
And while he might be more humble and not quite sure of how it's going to go, he's had a very integrated part in the installation, which we completed yesterday, and it looks amazing.
That's what I'm talking about. We'll take a break, come back and wrap up this conversation with Jeff Condit, the artist, and Sonia Deane, the owner of the K Roots Art Gallery. Exhibit starts tomorrow and runs through the first Friday of 2026. Be back right after this. And we're back here at Analyze This. It's Arts Wednesday, and we got Miss Sonia Deane from the Keene Roots Art Gallery here in the studio. And beginning tomorrow, featured artist is going to be Jeff Condit, collage artist up there in Christiansted. So one of my listeners, Harry Freeman, sent me a toilet photo just now. So the conversation is moving people. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing. Thank you very much, Harry Freeman, for that awesome photo. Looking good. So what's the next steps for the Keene Roots Art Gallery, Ms. Nahardine?
Well, 26 is a new year. More art, more fabulousness. And, fabulousness is always like a flair that I say is artistic. But more in-depth work with artists and trying to get more work into the gallery, trying to reach new levels. Like, for example, having a conversation with Liz Lanos on last Friday, because we had the D. Hamilton Jackson student exhibit up for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And she wants to incorporate something that's been a part of her creative thinking. What a creative woman. Liz, and a brilliant English teacher. So we're going to have probably a month in April where there's going to be some literature done by her students and creative work. So that's a new direction,
Okay.
you know, outside of, and it might be a direction where the children's works are sold. I've only done that once, and she's so funny. She said to me, well, what would you charge? I said, they're students. Whatever they make from their work, that's what they've got to get. So when I'm doing that, I've got to make sure I'm pushing the other brilliant artists like John Jones, Jeff Condit, to make sure it will balance out when I don't make money. But we will talk about that, the business on my 5th anniversary in December. We'll talk about that.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
But that's what's on the agenda. And I plan to bring back Bridges again, and try to bring in more other artists from the Caribbean into that show.
Kelvin had done some work there with you one time, right? Augustine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's probably listening right now, if he's not too busy with doing But he always will listen into your show.
Augustine Kelvin, AK, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Holder.
Yes.
Right?
Holder. Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Condit, you feeling good? You excited?
Oh, I'm very excited. Yes.
You put in the work?
I put in the work. Yes. Very much so. You know, I waited over a year before I called on Sonia. I wanted to make sure I had a body of work that represent what I wanted to try and make as a statement. And she came in and we clicked right from the very beginning. And it made me feel really good because she was where I wanted to land.
Has she played an advisory role in addition to being
of course,
a gallery owner?
Yeah, yeah.
You receptive to advice?
Sometimes, yeah.
I think he's been extremely receptive to advice, because there's a whole process also in putting up a show, because months and months before, somebody has to go in and taping the artist in the studio, because then that becomes the clips that we'll use on Instagram, or we'll put on Facebook, or we'll put on our website. So then I think the fact that we do that with the artist, it prepares the artist. It gets the artist more excited to be in the loop, like, oh, wow, we're getting closer. We're like, 4 months out from the exhibit that we're going to now do this recording in my studio. So I think when we got to that, and then also too when he came to the
it's a different lens. You know, he's an artist, and you're a gallery owner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He can't see things like you see things, and you can't see things like he sees things. You know, he sees his work, right? And you see his work in display. You know what I'm saying? So and having worked with other artists, and seeing how the audience and those who might come there receive the work and all that stuff, you have a business type experience that the artist doesn't have. You know what I'm saying? The artist is a producer of work. You know what I'm saying? You're in the business of now taking it to the next level.
Yes. Yes.
You know, that's the reason why I asked that question in that context. You know?
And he came with his game, because I think because of his decades of design, taking photo shoots for magazines and those kinds of things. He came with his A game. This guy came in with a tape measure to measure out the space, to kind of know where he wanted his pieces to go. And then...
What did that do to you?
Oh, it took a burden off of me, because it's like, okay, he's got his A game. I don't have to do that other extra work with this individual. The fact that his work, and there are not a lot of artists who can do this really well. His work is tightly well done professionally on board and canvas. It's tight. He has an A game.
Talk about the magazines you work with over the years, sir.
Actually, I'm more of a catalog shooter.
Okay.
But coming from Portland, Oregon, you have to be able to do everything. We had a 10,000-foot studio with 8 employees. And you
were born and raised in Portland? You grew up
born
there?
and raised,
yeah.
Yes. And we had different projects for different people. I came into the business because my dad wanted me in the business.
Okay.
And in a very short amount of time, I was taking over his assignments because he wanted me to be pushing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was an opportunity for me to, number one, learn how to use all formats: sheet film, 8x10, 5x7, 4x5, 2 1/4, 35 millimeter. You can nix 35 millimeter because in the local market, back through most of the time, 35 millimeter was too small. You could do that in New York, but you could do it in Portland. They want to see a square format at least. But probably the format I used the most probably was 2 1/4 over. And the other thing is too that my successful years really were in my 20s and 30s because 20-year-old art directors hire 20-year-old photographers. So the type of work I did changed as I got older. And but one thing I always had was to call on people. I had to have a portfolio, and that portfolio had to consist of personal work. And so and then the fact we had a large studio, we had a big room to make prints. And so I learned not only color management and how to reproduce color prints, but also how to deal with scale. And so when I got on my own, when we switched to digital and all that, I was totally prepared. And so that was kind of the next step, to be able to move up to bigger sizes.
No, I'm a sports junkie, right?
You are. That is lightly.
Everybody knows that. Two of my favorite people. I never got a chance to meet them, but they were actually out in Portland. You've heard of Blazer Mania?
I was there.
You was there?
I was 85 the year they went to
1977. Jack Ramsey.
Oh yeah.
And Bill Walton.
Yes.
These are two of my favorite people, right? And they passed, right? I never got to meet them. I really wanted to meet Jack Ramsey because I'm a basketball coach, right? I had the opportunity to coach Tim Duncan when he was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He was on my summer league team and all that stuff, right? But Jack Ramsey was such a unique and brilliant person, and the way he used to dress, right, with those plaid pants and color and all that stuff. But I was really into his brain because he was Dr. Jack Ramsey, actually. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then of course Bill Walton, a hippie.
Yeah.
Who was a genius.
Yeah.
He actually, and he actually overcame a speech impediment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was just curious as if you remember that. I was a teenager at the time when, the Portland Trailblazers actually won it all.
Yeah. Well, Kenny Carr, I don't know if you know Kenny Carr.
I know Kenny Carr.
He played on my tennis team.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a
And
good
the thing
player.
about basketball players, they're extremely tall. If you hit the ball at them, they can't move. They can't get it.
Yeah.
But if they hit it wide, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
So they got the
Hit
reach.
it right.
Yeah, they got the reach.
And, but I was very honored. He was only able to play in a couple of matches.
Okay. So you play with Kenny Carr. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And then of course it was the only game in town.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
From a team standpoint. So
yeah.
Everybody rallied around that. Your daughter, you said your daughter went to nursing school.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
How did she end up selecting St. Croix and UVA?
Well, we were here
coming out of Portland.
We were here on our 30th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
And she'd been trying to get into nursing school, and we found that they had a nursing school here.
One of the best.
And that is exactly correct.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating.
No. You have to
UVA, one of the best nursing schools.
You have to know how to calculate some of these things that are just already done for you. Well, so anyway, she came back. We came back and we said, "Well, here's the brochure," and she says, "Well, I'm not going there." But then when she got rejected the last time, which I shouldn't really dwell on that because she was a very good. She'd already graduated with a 3.2 in college.
Okay.
But she was also a single mom. So, they wanted 4-point students only, not realizing the fact that your best nurses are not going to be 4-point students.
Yeah.
They're going to be people that love people. So anyway, she ended up going. And
wow. The rest is history.
The rest is history. Yeah, she is now an emergency room nurse at Kaiser. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Yeah.
Wow. So ready for tomorrow?
Oh man, so ready. And
excited?
Very excited. And it's also the first Art Thursday.
Yeah.
We've been working on this for a year, And I just have to say thank you. When I was coming over here today, I remembered a word from Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
And when people would come in to the front of the house, Shalana always calls this, I'm going into my vernacular, the drawing room.
Yeah.
So you know that.
Yeah,
And, and it's defined of some things like something very more formal. But I never saw the drawing room in Guyana as being formal. It was a place that I saw my parents or my mother bring friends in, family would come to visit, and they'd sit in the drawing room. And I have to say thank you, Neville, for making this the drawing room. Thank you for making this the drawing room for the arts. And not only the arts, you always make it comfortable in a salon to talk about sports, to talk about culture, other places in the world. So it really is a traditional drawing room / salon where you have some intellectual conversation going on and also some just human culture exchanges. So from my heart and for the community, I just want to say a great big thank you and for being here and being here for the community.
Well, you're welcome. I enjoy doing this, and I'm glad you went there because it gives me an opportunity to restate, how I go about, talking with my guests, right? And me and my boss, we talk about this all the time, and, I'm not in the interrogation business.
No,
you know what I'm saying? I'm in the conversation business, and it's a local show, but I also want, and I also know that the local people here, they are in tune to what we're doing or what's going on regionally, nationally, internationally.
Oh, yes.
And they have a great appreciation for our willingness to talk about things that you wouldn't hear, on other stations. You know what I'm saying? I'll brag about this. I don't think you'll hear someone else talking about Jack Ramsey and Bill Walton at a radio show. That's the nerdy side of me that when we were young, right? Being nerdy was not in vogue, and here I am now in my old age where I enjoy letting people know, I love my nerdy side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm meeting Jeff, and when somebody tells me where they're from, and being a geography buff like I was. Growing up. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation, George Cannon.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I told him, in August, I did a West Coast trip, right? I did the Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, LA, San Diego.
Wow, yeah.
The only one I didn't go to was Portland, right? So I told him about it, and he said, the next time you do it, do not leave out Portland. He said, take the train. Yeah, because he's done that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm anxious to actually do the Portland thing, and so Jeff actually playing a part in that right now and don't even know. You know what I'm saying? But I need one of the things that me and my boss talk about, quality content is what we are about. This is quality content.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Talking with yourself, meeting Jeff, hearing the story, because there's a story behind everybody's appearance here on Analyze This. So I'm grateful that you find that to be, something that people would appreciate. And I enjoyed today meeting Jeff Condit, looking forward to working my way through the arts. Kane Roots Art Gallery to check out his display.
Yes, please do.
And it runs about 6 weeks, right? Thereabouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. And, pleasure to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Know what I'm saying?
Too.
And, congratulations on all your work. And I like how you say, you had to, put in the time and then let he ready.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's something about that. It ain't about, okay, I just wanted to do it for the sake of doing it. I put in the time so that when I'm ready to present it, it's going to be at the highest level. You know what I'm saying? So we're good with that. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you,
Arts
Neville.
Wednesday was a success, and thank you, Jeff Condit.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And you wanna we. That's a terminology we use. You might be from Portland, but you wanna we know. You live in here.
Thank you.
So we're good with that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, Mr. Ware at the Waste Management Authority, you and your deputies, thanks for joining us as well. Be good, be safe. Looking forward to tomorrow. Talk to you then.
views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.